Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing good, and thank you for tuning in to the 2024 preview and prediction for the Tennessee Vols. The 2023 season for Tennessee did not go the way we wanted it. Finished the season 9-4, 4-4 in the SEC, and third overall in the SEC East. But we're expecting better things in 2024. We lost some notable players in Jalen Wright, D. Williams, Joe Milton, Tyler Barron. That's just to name some names of some players that we are missing. But we are bringing back some players that they produced last year and had great results, and these guys are back. Squirrel White, he had over 800 yards last year. Dylan Sampson, he had almost 800 yards of total offense. James Pierce had 10 sacks last year. Brew McCoy, who his season was cut short halfway through, but in 2023 or 2022 he had almost 700 yards of total offense. And then Omari Thomas, who's the anchor on that defensive line, he had 35 tackles. He's back too. So we got some studs coming back and some guys that are gonna you're going to feel their presence immediately on this team. We also went out to fill some of those holes of the people that have left us for the portal or draft. We've got Boo Carter, we've got Jermod McCoy, Hayden Stays, Chris Brazel. These are some names of some guys in the portal or freshmen that are going to come in and they're going to make an immediate impact and they're going to help us. So I'm really excited at getting to see these guys play. We're only 6 weeks away, and I just can't wait. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is the position groups that are coming back or that are the greatest strength for us. And the first group that I'm going to talk about is the offensive line. We've got Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, and we've got John Campbell Jr. Those three right there in their career, they've got 95 starts between them. And that's going to be huge in the SEC to have that kind of experience, to go into hostile environments, to be poised and calm. And they led a unit last year that was sixth in the country. They averaged 231 yards a game on the ground. That group, that rushing a game is what really saved us, because we were really horrible at throwing the football with Joe Milton. So being able to run the football saved us. Now, the second group that I'm going to talk about is this defensive line. It is the deepest group that Rodney Gardner's had since he's been here at Tennessee. It is led by Omari Thomas and James Pierce Jr. But there's some other names on there: Brian Eason, Omar Norman Lott, Elijah Simmons, Tyree West. This group goes 3 deep, so they're not going to be wore out in any games we have. We're that deep. It's a very, very experienced, very talented group. And honestly, of all the groups that I'm going to talk about, I think that is the best group that we've got, is that defensive line. And I'm really excited to watch them play. The other group that's a strength of this year is going to be the wide receivers. This was a group last year that battled injuries and had to have some guys come in and play that really weren't expected to play. But then we also went out and got some guys in the portal, and we also recruited some true freshmen that are going to make an immediate impact. Chris Brazel from Tulane, they said he had an amazing spring. He had like 1,000 yards last year at Tulane. He's going to be an immediate impact player. We got Brew McCoy coming back. He is going to be huge. He's a big physical specimen that can get those hard yards, across the middle, hard catches. Squirrel White is the speedster. And he's going to have a great year. He has been solid since he's been at Tennessee. He's back as well. But anyway, let's talk about now the unit that I am most concerned about, and that is the secondary. We had 10 guys leave from last year. Tamarian McDonald. We had several others that left that we were counting on to come back that brought us experience. Kamal Haddon went to he got drafted in the NFL, but we went out and we got Jermod McCoy. We went out and got Jalen McMurray, and those guys we're hoping can come in there and make an immediate impact. Boo Carter may even start this year, true freshman. So there's a lot of inexperience in this group. And I'm going to really be counting on our linebackers and our defensive line to make their life a lot easier by getting after the quarterback and not giving these guys a lot of time to throw the football and expose our secondary. So I'm hoping this group gets better and better as the year goes on. But if there is one weakness, it is definitely the secondary. Now, let's get to the schedule. All right. First game is against Chattanooga. It's FCS school. They're going to be playing at 12:45. They're one of the best FCS schools in America. FCS schools, they're the type of school, they get money. They get paid good money to come in and play that game. It helps fund their athletic department. And we played one last year in Austin Peay that made it a 4-quarter game. So we don't need to do that with Chattanooga. We need to take care of business in this game. We need to put 40 on them in a hurry and give them zero hopes of winning this game. We played Austin Peay last year, and they made it a 4-quarter game. And, just like Austin Peay, Chattanooga is an in-state school, and they're going to play very, very hard against the University of Tennessee. So we need to match that energy, and we need to take care of them early and often, and don't let this thing get into the third quarter. And I think we will. Should beat them rather easily. And so we're going to be 1-0 after that game. Now, this is where it starts getting serious. We play NC State in Charlotte, neutral site game. NC State is a 9-win. They had a 9-win season last year, went to the bowl game, lost to Kansas State. They're bringing in Grayson McCall. He was at Coastal Carolina for several seasons, put up really gaudy numbers. He's a really good quarterback. And they have Kevin Concepcion. He's back, receiver. Dude put up over 800 yards receiving last year. And they've got some weapons offensively. Defensively, they're going to be solid again. But I think if, NC State, one weakness they have is that offensive line. I don't think they're going to really hold up well against our defensive line, but if they're given time to throw, they could really expose our secondary. Tennessee will have to come to play. If Tennessee does not show up against NC State, they could definitely lose this game. Like I said, they won 9 games last year. They're expected to be a 9 or 10 win team again this year. There are a lot of publications. They're predicted to play in the ACC championship game this year. So it's only a 4.5 point spread in our favor in this game. So Vegas is seeing this as a very competitive game. I do think Tennessee wins. I think they win by around 10 points, but got to come to play. Anyway, so that gives us, we'll be at 2-0 after 2 games in the year. Now we're going to Game 3 against Kent State. Kent State finished 1-11 last year. They're bringing back an offensive line. They gave up 41 sacks last year. One thing that they were good at last year was pass defense. They were top 50 in pass defense. And you have to be good at pass defense if you're going to play against Tennessee. But the problem is the corners from that team last year, they're gone. And so they're going to have to put new corners in that position. And Kent State's going to have a really, really tough game. Kent State is a MAC school, and I think they're kind of picked to be toward the bottom in that conference. And Tennessee should not have any kind of issue with Kent State. So we're going to be 3-0. It's a complete mismatch. There's no way Kent State's going to beat us. So we'll be 3-0 after that. Now, it gets even serious for Game 4. This is where we go to Norman, Oklahoma. And a lot of people, I think most people that I've seen, they're picking Oklahoma to beat us. Oklahoma is really good as far as linebacker is concerned, and they're really good in the secondary. They may have the best linebacking core and secondary in the SEC. But along the line of scrimmages where I worry about Oklahoma, the defensive line is not that great, and the offensive line is really bad. And that's 2 really bad units to be bad at, especially in the SEC, because if you don't win the line of scrimmage, you're not going to win any games. They're bringing back a quarterback that played last year, and he played really well. He played sparingly. It's going to be his team this year, and they're expecting big things out of him. But I think our defensive line is going to be all over him all game long. I think Nico is going to have much more time to throw the football than he will. And I think Tennessee is honestly going to grind this game out on the ground. This is an offensive line that averaged 230 yards on the ground. I think you're going to see a 200 plus game on the ground again against Oklahoma in this game. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think Tennessee, the line of scrimmage, in the trenches, running the ball, I think Nico's not going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to be careful with the football, and Tennessee is going to get out of Norman, Oklahoma with a win. Tennessee is going to be 4-0. Now, we get a much-needed open date before we go play Arkansas. Arkansas is a team that we've not beat in Arkansas since 2001. We haven't beat them overall since 2007. It is a series that we've dominated, but not as of lately. We are 0-3 in the last 3 games against Arkansas. They're losing KJ Jefferson, losing Rocket Sanders. They had 34 people leave their program. They're having Bobby Petrino come in and lead this school. He was a former head coach there. He's going to be the offensive coordinator this year. They've brought in Taylor Green from Boise State. They've brought in Jaquindon Jackson from Utah. He's an 800-yard rusher last year. Some nice players. Not going to lie, some really nice players. Defensively, I don't see Arkansas being very good this year. They're losing some really good players, some good corners. And I don't think they're going to be able to hold up against Tennessee. Now, I will say this. This is going to be one of their biggest games of the year, and they're going to really, really want this game. Would not surprise me if Arkansas is up in the second, third quarter, but I think Tennessee has just got too much depth, and they're just better than Arkansas. And it really helps us that we have an open date before this game. I would be more worried if we had to play this right after Oklahoma, but the fact that we have an open date is going to help us immensely. I think Tennessee wins this game going away, kind of pulls away in the fourth quarter, and we get a win in Fayetteville. Now we're 5-0. All right. Now we get to our arch nemesis, the Florida Gators, who I hate more than anything. Them in Alabama, my biggest rivals to me personally. Florida is a team that has the worst schedule in the country. They have a brutal schedule, but they're a good team. They're a damn good, solid football team. They have a solid quarterback in Graham Mertz. They have a solid running back in Montrell Johnson. Good offensive line, and they can beat a lot of teams this year if people aren't paying attention or they take them lightly. Florida plays all the big schools in the state of Florida this year. They play all the good teams in the SEC. They've got to play Ole Miss, LSU. They have to play Florida State. They got to play Texas. They got to play Georgia. They got to play Tennessee. If it's a good team in the SEC, they basically have to play them maybe outside of Alabama. So this Florida team is felt. I think they feel disrespected by the press. I think a lot of people are picking them to not maybe win the 6 or 7 games. So Florida has a chip on their shoulder this year. The one thing Tennessee has to do is they have to get pressure on Graham Mertz. They cannot let him go down the field, triculate down the field, pick us apart, keep drives alive. That's the thing that happened in Fayetteville last year. One thing that hurt us last year, we didn't have Cooper Mays to line us up, get us set. We'll have Cooper Mays more than likely this year. The offensive line's going to be better. This is a rush offense for Tennessee that was 6th in the country. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against Florida. Florida last year, too, was 77th as far as running the football themselves as rush offense. Our defense was 19th in rush defense. So I think that I think overall the matchups favor Tennessee in this game. Tennessee's deeper. Tennessee's better. It's at home. Florida can absolutely 1,000% win this game, but I just feel like with the fact that it's in Neyland Stadium, I think if you go position group to position group, Tennessee is overall better. The problem is the mental block that Florida, when those Gators are on that opposite sideline, there's a mental block a lot of times for whatever reason. We beat them 2 years ago in Knoxville. I expect us to beat them again this year. We're just better. And that's no disrespect to Florida. Florida's a solid team, but Tennessee's just a better team. So I expect us to be 6-0 after the Florida game. Now, Alabama comes to town. Big, bad Alabama. But this ain't Alabama from 2011 and 2012. This is a solid Alabama team. But I'm going to be honest with you, Alabama fans, if you're listening to this, I'm going to piss you off. Alabama's about a 9-win team this year. You're losing a lot of people. Jace McClellan's gone. Jermaine Burton's gone. Isaiah Bond's gone. So defensively, linebacking core, secondary, you're going to be amazing again. You got Jalen Milroe back. Big fan of him. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can run like a 4.3 40. Before you know it, he's gone. He's in the end zone if he gets loose. So you have to keep a spy on him at all times. He's got a rocket arm, and I love his leadership ability. I'm a big fan of Jalen Milroe. But I think overall it's in Neyland Stadium. I like us, honestly, for the first time ever. I think we are better in the trenches this year than Alabama is. I'll take our offensive line and our defensive line over your alls. And I think this is the first year I could ever say that. It's a revenge factor. You beat us down there in Tuscaloosa last year. It's going to be in Knoxville. And I just think we're going to get the job done. Just too many question marks on Alabama, and I think a lot of publications have Tennessee or Alabama top 10, even top 5. I don't see Alabama as a top 10 team, and that's not being disrespectful. That's just how I see it. I think Alabama's probably a top 15 team, but they're not top 10. I think Alabama and Tennessee are just about even, but Tennessee's maybe slightly better. And this game's at home. Give me Tennessee. I think Tennessee is 7-0 after the Alabama game. Now, Tennessee has an open date. And I just think this season's going to be weird. We got the open date, and then Kentucky comes to Knoxville. Now, this is a team that we've traditionally owned. But this Kentucky team is really good. If you look at their roster, they're really good on the defensive line. They're really good in linebacking core, and they're really good in the secondary too. But that defensive line and that linebacking core is really special. They may be the best. They may have the best defense in the SEC outside of Georgia. That's how good their defense is. And offensively, Brock Vandegrift has come in from Georgia. He's a 5-star QB. Didn't play a lot at Georgia, but he's immensely talented. If they can get a really good season out of him, there's no telling how good Kentucky could be. They're bringing back Barry and Brown, and they're bringing back his counterpart, who had a lot of yards last year too. And Dane Key, that's his name. 2 really good receivers. And I don't know why I feel this way, but I just feel like Tennessee is going to be 7-0. They're going to be coming off an open day, and I feel like Kentucky catches us sleeping, and I think Kentucky's going to beat us in Knoxville. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just my personal opinion. I think after Game 8, we're going to be 7-1. I just think a lot of the matchups in this game kind of favor Kentucky, and I think Kentucky is just going to be kind of looking. They're going to catch us looking ahead a little bit toward the Georgia game in a couple weeks, and I think Kentucky gets us. So anyway, we're 7-1 after the Kentucky game. Then we play Mississippi State at home the next week. It's a good thing we get to play them because that'll be an easy win. Mississippi State is probably the worst team in the SEC outside of Vanderbilt. Jeff Levy is the new coach there. They're going to struggle. Offensively, I think they're going to be better in the new system that Levy produces, but defensively, they're going to be really, really bad. They're going to give up 30-plus points a game, and Tennessee's going to put up a lot of points in that game. So Tennessee's going to be 8-1, okay? And now we play at Georgia. Now, this game is going to be really good. Georgia, in my opinion, in the last several years has just run right over us. I don't see that this year, and here's why. Tennessee at the line of scrimmage this year is better. They're better than they have been. They're not going to be able to line it up and run us over on our defensive line. Offensive line, I think we're going to be able to hold our own more. I think Tennessee is going to score 24 to 28 points against this Georgia defense. But man, Georgia's good. Georgia has Carson back. They've got a plethora of weapons. And I just think Georgia gets us in like a 28 to 24 game. They beat us in Athens. Asking us to go down to Athens and win that game is asking just a little bit too much for me. I think Georgia gets us. So we're 8-2, 10 games into the year. And now we're going to play UTEP at home. UTEP, it's Conference USA team. It's a team expected to win around 5 or 6 games this year. And Tennessee's going to blast them. They're going to be really, really mad about this Georgia game. And Tennessee's still going to have a lot to play for at this time of the year. If we finish the year 10-2, we're going to be in the college football playoffs. So I think that UTEP's just not in our league at all. Like I said before, they are a Conference USA team. They're not FCS or anything like that. But I think Tennessee bounces back, blows out UTEP, and now we're 9-2. Now we're going to finish the year against Vandy, at Vandy. When we play at Vandy, that's basically like playing at Neyland Stadium, so that's going to be a home game. They are bringing in an offense coordinator, Vandy is, that was at New Mexico State the year before. He runs like a funky offense, so that's something we need to kind of be prepared for. But Vandy does not have the talent to play and beat a team like Tennessee. I think this Tennessee team is going to be way more similar to the 2022 team than the 2023 team. This is just a really good team, this Tennessee, and we're going to beat Vandy by about 40 points, in my opinion. And Tennessee is going to finish the year at 10-2, and they're going to be in the college football playoffs. So that is my prediction, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you listening. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Let me know why, where, and that's what makes college football so great. We all have an opinion, and that's just mine. Tennessee will be 10-2 and playing in the college football playoffs. Thank you, guys.